Yeah, sure. So basically, Team Indus is this private space company based out of Bangalore. And when I joined them, the idea was they were building a moon mission, which is very similar to what Chandrayaan 2 was for ISRO. So it was a similar moon mission in that you had to build a spacecraft and which you would intend to land on the moon. And there would be a rover. Once the lander has successfully touched down, the rover would come out and try to explore the moon surface for science and stuff.
Mm.
And so that was basically the engineering challenge that Team Indus had started, building on, building for. And so I was part of that effort initially via writing blogs for them about the mission as to how, for that would be technical blogs as to how, for example, you could take how do you build the structure of such a lander,
Mm.
and you know for example, if it has to touch down on the moon, then it would experience significant forces. So how do you need to build the structure, what material do you use, and what is the physics that goes into it, and so on. And so that's one aspect. Then there's the other aspect as to how do you build the propulsion system for such a lander, what kind of engines do you choose, and so on. And then there's the science aspect, or what science do you do on the moon, and so on. So I would write blogs about all these various technical and scientific aspects of the mission. That
Okay.
was one. The other thing I did was completely different to this was I was actually part of the technical team later on, where since I was from a science background and other people were engineers there,
Mhm.
so the idea was, since the moon is not unlike the Earth in the sense that not all of the places on the moon are the same. Just like on Earth, you have Himalayas and Sahara, which are two very different kind of landforms. So geologically speaking, so just like that, on the moon you have different kinds of geological places. So going to one place is totally not like going to the other place.
Ah,
So the idea was, if you are landing on the moon, where you go and land is very important, because that would decide what science you would do.
got
So
it.
as a person with a science background, my job was to figure out uh, where on the moon did the science community want to go to maximize science. And based on the engineering constraints that you have, you can land only on these kinds of rocky areas, but not too rocky areas, and so on and so forth.
Interesting.
You cannot land on a place which is too inclined, otherwise the lander would just fall, and things like that. So there were all sorts of major and minor engineering constraints.
Got it.
So take into account those constraints and take into account what the science community wanted to do,
Yeah.
and try to interface those two.